Hello, everyone, and welcome to SJ Thunder Warrior. My name is Campbell, and if you would be so kind as to pass this channel along your virtual grapevine, give us a shout out on the digital web, like, subscribe, notify, comment, all that good stuff, it would be greatly appreciated and would really help us grow this channel. Right now, I want to share something that is near and dear to my heart. Mage, the Ascension. And since Mage loves the number 9, because there are 9 mystics traditions, 9 magic spheres that govern reality, maybe a 10th, I don't know. I want to share with you 9 things that I love about Mage, the Ascension. This isn't going to be a deep dive into Mage, but if you would like me to go deeper into an aspect of the game, let me know down in the comments. Comments. Yeah, just let a brother know. Okay, so a bit of background first. I started playing Mage around 1996 when I was 16 years old in high school. I had already done Robotech. That was like my big thing because I was such a huge Robotech head from being like a little kid, really almost up till Shadow Chronicles, but that's another story altogether. And I also played Rifts, also because it was Palladium, it was a similar system, and it looked really cool. You could just do all kinds of crazy stuff in it. And although I loved the worlds, the mechanics always left me feeling rather, really, at the end of the day, kind of meh. And the art and writing in a lot of books began to really run counter with how I was beginning to like kind of view the world, and also my own lived experiences in the world. And then my dear friend Alex introduced me to Vampire. And to be honest, that didn't really take my interest either. I didn't want to be a monster all the time. Hell, I had enough of time trying to project being peaceful and non threatening just to make it to school and back. But when Alex showed me Mage, well, everything changed and I jumped right into it. So let's jump right into it now and talk about the 9 things that I love about Mage the Ascension. So first off is that I love the diversity in Mage, starting with the cover. At that time, I was pretty much resigned to seeing 2 or 3 people of color in role-playing book, if we're even in there at all. And usually at least 1 or 2 of those images would be pretty problematic. Seeing Dante, the virtual adept, someone that looked like me on the cover of Mage the Ascension, visually sampling the image of the mage from the Raider Waite tarot deck, and I was like, heck yeah, this is cool. Within the visual story of the game, people like me existed and existed in a myriad of ways. We weren't just one thing. We weren't just like the cool black guy. We were the technocracy agent. We were the shaman. We were the cult of ecstasy rocker. We were the mystics. We were just everything. And in addition to the ethnic diversity, there's also a range of gender expressions, sexual orientations, and more that really broke the mold from everything else that I had seen up to then. Basically, like, cis white dudes and their occasional exotic helpers that I was seeing in all the other books at the time. And while this diversity may not have always been perfectly done or executed, with each edition they got better. And that's something that I really appreciated, that the writers and editors seemed to be responsive to criticism. The Mage 20th Anniversary Edition has amazing visual diversity as well as some really great discussions in like various sidebars and rules and things like that in the book about how to approach issues of like race, gender, ability, discrimination, and all that stuff in your game. It's not something like pushed into a note at the very end of the book. It's baked in, and so that's one of the first reasons that I love Mage. Okay, number two, the second reason, is the magic system. And yes, that is magic with a K. We're not talking about David Copperfield stuff here. I have to be honest, as much as I love magic in books and movies and oral traditions, I've always found the magic systems in most games to be really lackluster. It seemed more like a skill or an ability rather than something that's really, really mystical and intrinsic. In Mage, magic is more than just a stat line or a list of cool moves. You know, first off, magic is influenced by your character's paradigm, how she sees the world. So you could have someone with that has like a Gandalfian wizard if you want to, but you could also have an Appalachian kitchen witch, or someone influenced by Wudon or Santeria, or Zen Buddhism. It really depends on how you want your character to be. And it opens up a whole world of possibilities for how your magic looks and works in the world. In the end, the magic comes from your character, and the magic comes from you. Um, Also, another thing that I love is that you don't have set spells. Yep, no spells. It's a free-form magic system. Um, that's basic. So rather than picking a few individual things that your character can do, you pick your character's level of understanding of various aspects of reality, like matter, life, or time, and then depending on the degree of their knowledge, they can try and change reality by creating magical effects. This is great to me for a bunch of reasons. This was like this blew my mind for a bunch of reasons, but one just for like two practical reasons means that one, you don't have to spend a lot of time at character creation picking out individual spells and constantly thinking, am I gonna actually use this or not? And two, it also scales well. I always thought that it was ridiculous how in some games you could easily cast a fireball, but it was impossible, like just rules wise, to be able to light a candle. The whole consensus and coincidental and vulgar magic and paradox thing, it really integrates magic into the world of the game. Your actions have consequences result in more actions and blowback, and it's just a great way where you see a system integrating with the narrative and back and forth. Okay. Now, number three is paradigm. Okay, so I love this concept of paradigm or a paradigm. This was a huge thing for me because paradigm is basically how people. If you've never heard of that word before, the 2 cent definition is that a paradigm is basically how people see the world and the rules they assume reality operates under. So two people can see the same event and the same things, but have completely different understandings of the situation. And paradigm in Mage is how folks view reality. If their paradigm says that magic is impossible, then magic can't work for them. But if a mage's paradigm says magic is possible, or that magic and hyperscience can change reality, then guess what's happening? Um, Outside of the game itself, this actually helped me a lot personally as like this 15, 16-year-old kid. And it really helped me understand the world a lot better. I began to think not in terms of like XYZ people are necessarily bad, but they have like an incompatible paradigm. I mean, some people just are like, you know, but it helped me be able to relate to people a lot better because I thought like, okay, so I'm coming at something with my point of view and my paradigm. Let me take a step back and try and listen and try and ask you questions and figure out things about your paradigm and how you're working things out. And it just made for a lot better interactions with people. Uh, yeah. For number four, I think you could say really knowledge of self. The magic system, the diversity, and paradigm elements all came together, and it made me feel like I could bring my whole self to a game. I felt that my identity was represented and respected. I felt that I could bring like my whole brain to the task. You know, everything that I knew about from my love of books, Black history, occultism, weird science, and like just my own ideas of Black liberation and art. All those things could be explored in this game. That was something that I never really got in any other game, except maybe to a bit cyberpunk, but it still wasn't as didn't have that like kind of mystical spiritual side to it. All right, so that's really that was like really the biggest thing, the most revealing thing to me, being able to bring my own self, the whole Campbell into the game, not feeling like I had to park out something, being like, okay, you know what, this doesn't really apply here, this doesn't fit into the universe. This is no, because I just could go. I could go full Campbell in there. So the number five thing that I love about Mage is that the system isn't number crunchy. So Mage uses the storyteller system, and it is really flexible, and it was easy for me to wrap my head around. It was narratively driven and allowed things to feel more like cinematic and dramatic with degrees of success as opposed to just a simple roll percentile pass fail of some of the other games that I had played. It was also simple enough to take things out or to tweak parts of the rules and not just have the whole thing fall apart. And as a storyteller, I really appreciated that it was easy for me to adjust things on the fly. And the combat system is actually pretty simple and straightforward, although initiative can be tricky with larger groups. The Metaplot, number six, is the Metaplot. Now, some people get mad about this because some people love the Metaplot, some people hate the Metaplot, and there are these constant arguments as whether or not the Metaplot is, which is the overarching story and events that take place in the world of darkness, should or shouldn't be used. And personally, I'm just gonna say it. I love the Metaplot. And I use it to varying degrees in all of my games. I think that it can add a lot of flavor and can give a sense of like history and lived inness and completeness to the world, and also give a bit of like forward momentum and tension. Especially if there's like a particular metaplot strand that a character might adjacently know someone who might be involved in that, and so they might get reports or comments or like see news reports relating to it. And I think that's really helpful in game, and also from like just an out of game and like reading the books and reading the material. I really like how they play with history and merge real and fictional events together to make a larger narrative. Number seven, the seventh thing that I love about Maze the Ascension is that you are not stuck in a character class. One of the advantages of making a character in Mage's storyteller system is that you have a chance to really build the kind of person you would like to see from the ground up. And you don't really have a lot of limiting factors to go about doing that. You do have, archetypes, but those are personality based. There are also the 9 mystic traditions. Uh, but even within those traditions, even though some might seem like more fightery or more stealthy or more gadgetery, there's an immense range within each individual tradition. A Euthanatos, for example, is just as likely to be a priest as they would be an assassin or a chaos magician or a chaos mathematician. They could even be all of those things at once or none of those things. And that's the beauty of it. Your choices are descriptive choices, not prescriptive choices, if that's the right way. I'm pretty sure that's the right way of saying that. You can flip the script in any number of ways. I'm actually currently running a game with that one of my players is she's running an Ashkayana character that doesn't believe in spirits. She's basically like in a atheist Zen Buddhist monk thing going on, which I think is really, really awesome. And so that's just one example of how much freedom you have to create your character in this game. Number 8 is the community. I found that the mage community online is really great. I've had to navigate through a fair number of toxic communities online in my time, and I have to say that the mage community, particularly the mage Facebook community, is one that I interface with the most often outside of my gaming groups. Has consistently been a great resource for inspiration and sharing ideas. When I was trying to figure out what to do with this channel, I got some great suggestions and useful questions from that community. And also there are writers and creators of the original books that are active posters and commenters and admins in that group. So it's really cool to see someone be like, hey, you know what? I don't understand this part. And then someone else say like, oh yeah, no, I'm not really sure what I was doing when I wrote that either. That's just really cool. Number 9, the people. Last but not least are the people that I have met while playing these games and the friendships that have grown and deepened over many nights over across tables, high school sleepovers to 40-something-year-olds talking over a webcam during a pandemic. Big shout out to Alex and the Tacoma Park crew, City on Fire, and the Denzens of the Bolt Hole, and The Clock Strikes, and all the other folks that I've geeked out with or suffered me geeking out about Mage the Ascension. So those are the 9 things that I love about Mage the Ascension. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe, tell us to your mother, father, sister, brother, cousin. Tell us to people who have never picked up a pair of dice to roll a save before. And yeah, just stay tuned. I have some more things coming up on the horizon. One of them being a discussion of Rifts Africa. That might be a 2-parter because it's really a big example of 1, how not to write a source book, and 2, how not to write about people of color. So it's a great, awesome negative example of what not to do. And I will also be doing at least one like mage character creation walkthrough. And in addition to some more Warhammer and tabletop miniature stuff coming up. But if there's an element of Mage that you want to hear more about, please let me know down in the comments. And until next time, be safe and play. Good night.